Did you ever ask your fiancé that question? And I tell you, many times it has never been asked. It's an assumption.
Right, it's an assumption.
That I know.
Right.
And it's business
or you would expect the person to just divulge that information. Yeah.
Welcome to the New Foundation Christian Ministries B1 Marriage Ministry video podcast. I am your host, Donald McFarlane, and with me is the lovely
Natalie Irving Mattox.
Very well. Natalie, bring us into some of the preliminaries in terms of this program here.
Yes, well, first I'd just like to remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at New Foundation Christian Ministries. Remember to like us on Facebook at New Foundation Christian Ministries and our new page on Instagram at B1 Marriage Ministries. I would also like to send some anniversary greetings to our viewers for the month of August. We have Jermaine Blake and Davine Jonas Blake from Kingston, Jamaica. We have Ronald Edwards and Ferris Grace McLean Edwards from Connecticut, USA. We have Emil and Verona Jones from Connecticut, USA. We also have Chavel and Melrose Stewart from Kingston, Jamaica. And finally, Doctors Thomas and Hope O'Brien from Ohio, USA. Thank you.
Very well. So we congratulate all these persons on the milestone of their wedding anniversary. So here we are this very week, Natalie, rolling out an episode to be continued, dubbed Triple R's.
Yes.
Very obviously, the question is, what is Triple R's? Well, we're talking certainly consistent to marital relationship. You know, this is what this program is all about. As a team, we have been talking about relational issues. And it's not like marriage is just now and issues connecting to marriage are just emerging. But you know, sometimes things are seasonal and they bring to you the need to address, you know, the specific things that arise. Hence, Natalie, you and I, we have spoken much and we have now come to the set to talk about the red flags, the reasons and the recommendations of marriage. And we want to once again lay the foundation. I think no better way, Natalie, to go back into pre-marital counseling. Mm-hmm. Because I believe that some things unanswered there will certainly lead to problems in the marriage. So we need to spend some time. From my perspective, and then you can weigh in, a lot is placed upon the persons doing the premarital counseling. And I'm going to be brutally honest. Mm-hmm. Truth is that some of us practitioners are not, I could say, on the cutting edge. It's not about offering a prayer. Mm-hmm. It's looking at real issues in guiding the persons who are intending to be married. That's right. Yes? So help me here, Natalie, as we talk. What is your burden in this premarital thing? Because you have a heart for seeing people having good marital relationship.
Yeah, well, firstly, it is some premarital counseling is very important.
Right.
It's necessary, but I think the issue I have a lot of times with the individuals is that that's the time they need to be honest with each other, but I find that's where we tend to hide a lot. Because the truth is that most times, once you get to premarital counseling, you're ready to be married. So most times we start premarital counseling after we get engaged. So we are now at the stage where everybody knows that we're about to get married. So the aim is to get married. So even if there are red flags, which we'll get into, then can we say at this stage that we won't get married? So it is critical for us to have premarital counseling, but it is even more critical for us to be honest about the issues and stop worrying about, if you think that there are issues to be dealt with, then you may just have to put off the wedding.
Well, a putting off the wedding may not become necessary if we follow the order that you are right here and now. I'm passionate about it, Natalie, because
I get you.
I have to,
I understand.
in my operation, help and guide and support couples.
Right.
So when persons believe they have found an attraction, getting engaged should not be on the cards before there is some great measure of certainty.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
That you are going to be married.
Yes. Yes.
And hence, premarital should be guiding the process. No dates are to be set
That's right.
when
That
you're
is
going
right.
into but that's not what is happening.
That's not what is happening. And you're right. I'm happy you hit the nail right on the head. We should not be setting dates before we have our premarital counseling done, because this is where you start to check now whether or not there are things to be dealt with that you're just not ready for. Because you just said it, Bishop, that a lot of times the things and the issues that may come up in the premarital counseling, if they are not dealt with, even when you deal with them, they are still going over into your marriage. However, if you at least understand what is happening, then those issues can be monitored by someone who will hold the couples accountable. So if there is an issue, for example, if before you get married, you recognize that, okay, this man had maybe an outside child, for example, right? Yeah. You may know that, right? The husband, or you may not know that. Either way. So I think it's the duty of the spouse, the person rather, who knows that there's an outside child, to ensure that that is brought up, and how will that situation be dealt with? Whether or not that child is going to be living with you, is that acceptable? Would the party, either party, whoever, the mother or father who is in the relationship going into premarital counseling, whether or not that person is comfortable with this outside child, how would that add value, take away from the relationship? Will that child be living with you? So these things can be dealt with from early. And you have to be honest, because what I find with a lot of us as women, Bishop, oh dear, we accept everything before we get married. And then when we get over into the marriage, now it's problem. The same things that we say we would accept, we don't want to accept them. The man come with his bag of children, and I don't like kids. You just find out now that the woman don't even like kids.
Okay.
Yet, in the marital counseling sessions, these things did not come up. We have to be honest with these things, honest about these things, so that they can be dealt with. So if the man knows that you don't like kids, make it be known. So whether or not the man is going to marry you, it makes sense, because guess what? You're setting up yourself for failure.
But then it begs a question, since you bring that particular scenario, Natalie. Why then would I just go along knowing fully well that I don't agree and accept these things? Is there a particular reason you're thinking of? I don't like A, B, C, but yet in the counseling session, it's all honky-dory.
Because I want the wedding. I want the marriage.
You want the marriage.
I want the ring on my finger. I want to seal the deal. That's the aim. Oh. Especially if you give out dates already. I mean, Bishop don't like to be embarrassed. No. You can imagine I give out my dates, and then the bishop is going to tell me, you're not getting married because you have issues to be dealt with. We want to get married, and that's the issue.
So on this platform, we are trying to set the records correct, which hold on to that influencer of what we call the engagement because
Yes.
it puts pressure like the wedding is definite.
Yes.
Hold on to that.
Hold on to the engagement.
But you are even also saying, which I agree, that even if you were to be engaged and you come to discover things that are almost unlivable with,
Yeah, big red flag staring you in
must
the
have the
face.
strength in the community and the people around you to put it on hold
Put it
or
on
cancel
hold.
it.
Put it on hold or cancel it. At the end of the day, just one little embarrassment of you telling people, oh, we're not ready.
Yes.
We're putting it off. You don't need to give anybody a reason why you're putting off your
Right.
wedding. It could be financial issues. It could
Yes.
be other issues. So I think you and your partner just have to be honest with each other.
Yes.
And say, listen, we're not ready for this. Let's put it off.
Very well.
And if you never get married to that person, then so be it. That wasn't God's plan for you.
Yes. Well, also let us give out a word of advice to those of us who facilitate the counseling sessions to be brutally honest
Have to be honest.
in dealing with the persons
Yes.
who come for counseling, because there are those who will be very tricky
Oh dear.
in the sessions.
Let me tell you.
You know, like you said, just to make it happen.
Just to make it
Because
happen.
the days are far gone when you accept. Let me tell you, a practice, for example.
Yes, yes.
Irrespective of how well I know you, there comes a time when I ask you, squarely looking in your face, if you have ever been married.
Yes.
Yes? Just as an example.
Okay.
And that's not asked to one person, it's asked to both persons.
Okay.
And I will even ask each of them, did you ever ask your fiancé that question? And I tell you, many times it has never been asked. It's an assumption.
Right, it's an assumption.
That I know.
Right.
And it's business
Or you would
assumption.
expect the person to just divulge that information.
Yeah.
Say you know a situation, Bishop, where people are going for a second marriage and the party.
Persons have deceived persons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. And all
That
I'm
is
saying
serious.
is that to help the whole process going forward, we have to place strong emphasis
Yes.
on this aspect of the premarital. So it's out of that now we see.
Right.
We talk about the 3 R's, we're talking about red flags now.
Right, right,
Yes?
right.
They are endless. But some of the red flags that are likely to emerge, Natalie, from where you sit, going in a relationship and going towards marriage, would be what I'm saying.
Well, there are a lot of things that we would see. Like, for example, extreme selfishness.
Selfishness.
Yes, that's a big issue. And most times when
But let us
either
flesh out that
party,
let's flesh out that a little bit more.
When you're selfish, Bishop, it's difficult. And I'm talking about extreme selfishness because at some point, I mean, we all have some level of selfishness.
Yes.
But then you have some people who is just me, myself, and I. No, that doesn't work in a marriage because you're talking now about two, or even if there are kids involved, that will be important.
Yes.
So it can no longer be about me, myself, and I. Now, how do you help somebody to grow from being seeing just themselves to seeing the full complement of their family? How would you help somebody in that regard?
So if you're dating somebody and you are observing that the person is just about him, herself,
Yes,
it begs a question for you to pull some brakes and look at it.
it does. It does.
Yes?
I'm telling you, yes, it does.
He does.
It does.
He doesn't think about you when he or she's doing some purchasing, some acquisitions of whatever sort. It's just like that. Just
Right, even and things that you can look at. I mean, if you're traveling, for example, you're somewhere else, the person doesn't call you, the person doesn't check on you. Simple things like those. You know, you're going to buy lunch, you don't take up your phone and said, honey, or darling, or you know, would you like something? So you have to pay attention to those red flags because those can be very problematic.
I was looking at that. You cite as an outflow of selfishness. For me, when I was looking at it, it's really about how much quality time is my lover.
Right. Yes.
Likely, I'm not talking you're married yet.
Partner, yes.
To spend with me, or you are always so busy.
That is.
Yeah.
That is it.
That you don't have much time for me. Is that not something that one should be looking at?
Yes, but that's part of being extremely selfish.
Yes.
Yes. And it's only when you want your needs to be met that you call me or you come to see me. That's also about being extremely selfish.
Yes.
Because we are selfish, as I said, with different things. But there are some things that just plain outright red flag.
Red flag.
And it's going to be difficult for you to have a peaceful marriage with those
How about
things.
somebody telling you that they love you with all the nice words, but they don't want people to know about the relationship?
Oh dear. No, I think that would be foolish of you though. Because the thing is, if somebody really love you, they want people to know about you.
Yes.
You know, you can't be telling me that you love me and nobody knows about me. That's a big, big red flag. You know, that relationship going absolutely nowhere. That's clearly using. That can't be love.
Another one I'm thinking
Him
about.
looking for green card papers or something.
Perhaps.
That's serious.
Another thing is about if you identify somebody as being lazy. Lazy.
Yes, yes.
Is not prepared to take the initiative. Yes? All the person does is talk, but not prepared to put your shoulder to the wheel. Is this not something that persons in a relationship should be taking note of?
Yes, and especially if, for example, neither party, I'm not just hitting the males here, but females too. You know that you value people who work and who want to work or contribute in some way. And even if your spouse isn't working or your partner, so even if the person isn't working, it must be that him or her is contributing to some other aspect of the marriage. So if you're the one working and I'm the one out, you're the one who will stay with the kids, because it depends. So you have to assess these things.
Right.
But you know when somebody is lazy and up to no good.
Yes.
Just outright lazy and not willing to take the initiative and go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's another natural disaster about to happen.
Now, let me flip the script a little bit here, because sometimes we talk about red flags that we are seeing out there. But when do I see a red flag about me that I am so desperately in need of a relationship to have this spouse that I compromise even some of the important things to me?
Yes.
I am in that zone of desperation that it robs me of objectivity.
Yes.
And even if initially I would talk to a friend, a trusted friend, who would correct me, once the friend is now taking a position for my good, then slowly the friends is hearing less and less from me until when the big bang happened down the road.
Because you just want the ring.
Yes. But
And
Natalie, when you say want the ring, you're skewing that thing over to the ladies, Natalie.
no, you meant to just want the ring too.
Men just want the ring.
No, but either way you take it.
Yes.
The thing is, when you are very desperate and you're at a place where whether it be loneliness or whether it be just jealousy, just wanting to have this ring, just whatever the situation is that is fueling that desperation, it's hard for you to see clearly what you're getting yourself into, which is why, again, having somebody to hold you accountable, premarital counseling is of utmost important because you have to open up about everything. So that way somebody's at least able to say to you, we understand, we know you love him, we know you love her, but you're just not ready. And I think somebody to tell you exactly why they think that you're not ready, because sometimes it's hard for you to be objective when your vision is so cloudy.
Yes.
It's hard. You know, so you may think that, oh, I want to get married. I'm ready. You're really not. Because even things that you need to deal with within your own self, you know, you're going to be disastrous to that partner. You know, so even look at yourself. Not even just that the person may be an issue, but am I ready? Do I think that I have let go of some of the baggages that I need to in order to work with somebody else? Because this is like partnering with somebody else, you know, and then on something. Am I going to be in a good place to partner with somebody for life? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
Yes.
Sometimes we're just not there yet.
Very well. So we are by this way of discussion. Opening up, perhaps not new to some persons, but perhaps for some, it's an opportunity to see afresh, to say it's all right to be in love.
Yes,
it's
is.
all right to desire
Yes.
to be married. And I tell you, my growing concern as I was having some discussions off air with my producer
yes.
George, as it relates to sometimes you wonder if there's a difference between Christian marriage and non-Christian marriage, because a rate of divorce and breakups of whatever sort, well, what's the difference really? But I believe that there is a place where the institution called the church can have a significant impact upon those persons who enter into relationship.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that we came up to is that marriage is for mature people.
It is.
I'm not saying that we are there at the top once we start, but we must be prepared to grow into maturity.
That's right.
And coming back to your point, that there needs to be the community.
That is important.
That helps to stabilize.
Yes. And I find a lot of people, they tend to hide away from that because we don't want anybody to hold us accountable. You know, we don't necessarily want anybody to know what is happening with us, you know, because there might be motives, of course. But if we ever understand the importance of the community and how we can use that community to our own good, to help us, to help you grow, to help with healing, to help with processing, and to allow both of you to grow and help the marriage to work, to have peace in your marriage.
Yes.
Because you think that, this is between just me and my husband, or this is just between me and my wife. When problems start, you realize that I really can't manage this.
So we see that first are of the red flags,
could
in multiplicity of such that time would not afford us to go through all of them. We're talking about the 3 R's.
Staying in touch, 3 R's.
The red flag, the reason, and the recommendations, do's and don'ts.
Yes.
Let us bear that in mind. It was our privilege to have come to you once again, live from the New Foundation Christian Ministries, B1 Marriage Ministry video podcast, and to share with you along this line. We trust it has been very beneficial as we look forward to hearing from you. Natalie.
Yes, I just want to thank our sponsor, Mattox Health and Fitness, our resident producer, George Malcolm Walker, and Damian De Aguilar, our program director. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at New Foundation Christian Ministries and follow us or like us on Facebook at New Foundation Christian Ministries and on Instagram at B1 Marriage Ministry. Thank you for watching. We appreciate your comments.